Hello everyone and welcome. We're very excited to have Dr. Arsen Bobokhyan join us today all the way from Armenia to talk about his research and conservation efforts of one of the most unique archaeological monuments of the Armenian Highlands. His talk is the first among three presentations on recent Armenian archaeological research. Next week, we will have Dr. Mikhail Badalyan join us, who will talk about Urartian religion and his recent excavations of Urartian sites in Armenia. And the following Friday after that, November the 6th, we hope to have Artur Petrosyan, who can tell us about his research on early farming communities in the Ararat Plain. The subsequent two meetings as this one are contingent on the developing situation in Armenia. And I'll say a brief statement about that in a moment. But before that, I again would like to thank Dr. Bobokhyan for being with us and for fulfilling our scientific curiosity about about Armenian archaeology at such a troubling time for Armenia and Artsakh. Before we move on to introductions, I would like to say that we at the research program in Armenian archaeology and ethnography at UCLA strongly condemn the attacks of Azerbaijan and Turkey on Artsakh and its civilian populations, and we hope for a quick return to peace and safety in the region. Dr. Bobokhyan, hi. Dr. Bobokhyan. Dr. Bobokhyan obtained his doctoral degree in 2006 from the Institute of Prehistory at the University of Tübingen in Germany. He's currently serving as the Vice Director of the Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography in Yerevan, Armenia, and as an Assistant Professor of History at the Yerevan State University. He's on the editorial board of a number of journals published in Armenia and the United Kingdom, including Aramast, the Journal of Near Eastern Studies, as well as the journal Herald of Social Sciences. Dr. Bobokhyan has led or participated in nearly a dozen archaeological projects in Armenia, Georgia, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey. He has over 100 publications in Armenian, English, and German on various topics of the Bronze and Early Iron Ages in the region. His talk today is titled Dragon Stones of Armenia, Recent Research and Protection Works. Dr. Bobokhyan, the stage is yours.
Hello everyone. Dear Christina, thank you very much for presentation, and thank you everybody for finding time to hear this presentation. I shall try to bring you for a while to the Armenian mountains, which are now in fire, but we hope that everything will be soon loosed in very good way. So my topic is dedicated to the problem of dragon stones. I shall try to present you the phenomenon of dragon stones, the excavations, recent excavations which take place on the mountain Aragats in the place by the name Tirinkatar. I shall try to touch the problem of dating of this monumental stelae and present the cultural context, and at the end to speak some words about protection works which were taken place in Armenia in context of dragon stones, and consider also problems of possible further works in this direction. So first, let's begin with definitions. What are Vishap stones? So Vishap, the word Vishap is wordly dragon in Armenian. So when we are saying Vishap stones, it means dragon stones, a word which comes from the people. Its etymology is very difficult to trace back, but in any way we call these archaeological objects as dragon stones, taking it only from the people's etymology. Vishaps are basalt or andesite stone stelae over 5 meters high, shaped in the form of a fish. This is the first type, or of a flat steel and carved with zoomorphic reliefs, most often of bull skin. This is the second type, and or their hybrids. It means hybrids of fish and bull. They are situated mainly on high altitude landscapes, but not only, around water sources, in small and very flat plateaus, and are pivotal points of spatial sanctuaries. This phenomenon is very typical of the territory of Armenian Highlands, and the people who are well known of Armenian history. The phenomenon is more or less similar to the khachkars, cross stones, which appear in Armenia during Christian period, which are also something typical for the region, a kind of brand for the region. Until now, we have about 100 Vishaps, and since 2012, an Armenian, German, Italian expedition team started a systematic archaeological investigation of the Armenian dragon stones. However, I should say that the history of investigations goes back to earlier periods of Armenian archaeology, and is connected with such names as Nikolaios Mar, Smirnov, Toramanyan, Atarpet, Kalantar, and others. I don't want now to go into details of history of investigation, but the first find of Vishap stone is known to us in 1999 in the Geghama mountains. This is the central Armenia, the region around to the west of Sevan Lake, and the initial discoverer of this stelae is considered to be a well-known Russian archaeologist and historian, Nikolai Mar. Now, some words about, once more, the typology, demonstrating their real forms. You see here the first one. So in this way are looking the fish Vishaps, the first types. The second, the bull Vishaps. They have a depiction of bull draped from above, on the steel. And the third one, you see here, the third category is the mixture of both of them, of the fish and of the bull. This is a well-known example now standing on the museum in front of the Museum of Sardarapad in Armenia, which is brought from the place Ajdaha Yurt on Geghama mountains, and now is among those around 20 Vishap stones which are transported from their original places, but we shall speak about this problem later. Another example of standing dragon stone on the Geghama mountains representing a bull. You see the head of the bull, which is damaged, the extremities coming from above, two birds staying in front of each other. This is one of the essential traits of Vishaps, which appears on about 5-6 objects. We have, during our last research, we could find or define also new types, and among them I would like to remember a new type, a new Vishap stone, which was discovered some 3-4 years ago by our expedition in a southeastern part of Aragats mountain in the village, near the village of Irind. This is a Vishap stone which represents two heads. One is a bull, and second one is a Felidae, very possibly a leopard, However, we are trying now to understand it better, and after a more detailed investigation, maybe we can speak about other possible types of these stones. Here you see the distribution map of the Vishaps. The most essential center of this monumental stelae is modern Armenia. We have about 40 objects on Geghama mountains. We have a pretty big concentration on Aragats. We have concentration in other parts. However, the distribution of Vishaps goes also to the north and to the west of Armenian territory into the other regions of Armenian Highland. And here you can see more detailed distribution of Vishaps in recent times. New objects are appearing also in Western Armenia around the Lake Van. And now we can say that a lot of new materials appearing after the new stage of investigation of this monumental stelae. When we are putting together the data concerning the altitudes of the Vishaps, we can say that they appear mainly on two levels. First of them appear on the high altitude level, beginning with 2,400, around 2,400 until 3,200, and the second level from 2,400 until 1,400 around. The first level is high altitude, going beyond the settlements, and the second one appears within or in surrounding of the settlements. This is the main difference between these two groups. When we are speaking about Vishap Contexts, this is the most difficult problem. If earlier researchers were concentrating on more art problems concerning the Vishaps of their cult and other questions, our approach to Vishap is more coming out from contextual approach. We are trying not to make the Vishap a center of our investigation, but one part of the archaeological landscape in which these stone stelae coming up. And from this point of view, we can say that very often they are appearing in context of barrows, in contexts of the so-called, the megalithic monuments such as giant houses. This is also a false etymology. Such object as you see here, very often around the Vishaps appearing also cromlechs like this one, and rock carvings like here. These two are from Karmir, Tirinkatar. I shall go into details later. When we made an initial survey of dragon stones, then the problem appeared, which will be the site we shall approach to it from the point of excavations. And we came first to Ajdahayurt, or the place Vishapner. This is the first find spot of Vishaps in 1999 by Professor Nikolaios Mar. And this is the landscape, and we made a topographic map of it with 5 Vishaps. By the way, 2 of them have been transported from their original place at the end of 1960s in Soviet times. And this was one of the possibilities to begin an excavation around the other 3 places, other 3 Vishaps, which were in situ in their place. But during our survey in 2012, we came across to a place on Mount Aragats. You see here on a satellite map from 1940s. This is this place. And you see here on a Soviet map, Tirinkatar, which is located on the altitude of about 2,900 meters above the sea level. And when we came to this place, we came across to the group of Vishaps, which was a totally interesting find, which was not known before, and we decided to concentrate ourselves on this location. Here you see the concentration of these stones on the southern slopes of the mountain Aragats, and here the biggest concentration of about 12 Vishaps in the location by the name Karmir or Tirinkatar. We worked in this place from 2013 until 2018. And you see here the topographic map of the site. On the whole, the site is about 40 hectares, on which we excavated in these places. Here the names of operations of different trenches. As we came to this place, some 9 Vishaps were visible. During our work, we unearthed further 3. And at the end, now we have 12 objects of these stones appearing in this sacred landscape. You see here the location. This is the Mount Aragats. This is Mount Ara. And the location of the place by the name Karmir or Tirinkatar, where we are working in recent times. And this is a three-dimensional view of the place here. And I shall present some of them as we came to this place. First, we saw this one, this dragonstone. You see here in the drawing what was very interesting for us. We found on a Vishap a rock carving. We know that one of the essential problems concern in Armenian, not only in Armenian archaeology, but on the whole, that is dating of rock carvings. And many specialists try to date the rock carvings to very earlier periods of the region, to the Neolithic or Chalcolithic or other periods. I should say that the data which we have from this place are speaking more for their later dating. I shall come to this problem a little bit later, but in this case, we can say that the rock carving which was made on the Vishap was made just after it was fallen. So it means that the rock carving dates later than the Vishap. But how the Vishaps date, we shall come to it later. So these are the some of the Vishaps. As you see, some of are in situ, the others are in the loco, but on the whole, they are situated in their original places. And as we decided to work in 2013, we decided to begin with excavation of this object. From the surface, it was visible only a small part of a basaltic protuberance, as you see here. And as we excavated this place, you see what kind of picture appeared. This was 2013. We see a fish located in the center of a round structure. We have a substructure within it, and as if this fish is located or seems to be also buried into this structure. First, we thought maybe it is a grave, but during our further excavations, we excavated also around it. It appeared that these cromlechs, which are appearing around it, around the Vishaps, They have nothing to do with human graves. But as you see that in the central part of them, all have central stones. These plates, what they could be, maybe they are burials of sacred stones, I don't know. But in any case, we can state that they have nothing to do with human burials. You see here the drawing of the object. Then we began to excavate also others. And what is interesting that none of these stelae is similar to other one. The contexts of them are totally different from each other. So it is very difficult to trace regularity among them. The second, the Karmir 2, appeared to be without any structure, or maybe there was some substructure to it, but it was disappeared during the time. But as you see, it had a very interesting type of ornamentation on it. We see the bull, we see something, some kind of sword, I don't know how to call this object, or which comes from above down, and at the end it becomes once more a bull, something which we should interpret later. Of course, the most important thing for us, which is very difficult to define, is the finding of the original pit of the Vishap, which will enable us dating. And we always trying to find such pits around it. And now I demonstrate 2 pits of around this Vishap, here and here, here and here. And I don't want to go into details. Maybe later you will have questions. This pit is dated through 3 radiocarbon datings into the Middle Bronze Age. So about 2000, 1800, and this pit to Chalcolithic. I shall come to the problem of dating a little bit late. Another excavation of another Vishap, you see here, the excavation process seems to be totally different from other contexts. This one is a platform. The Vishap is inside the platform. This construction we cannot call a kromlech, but it is a kind of platform. And when we opened it, it turned out that this very beautiful Vishap was fallen on a background which is dated, of course, later than it was erected. I shall come to this problem when we shall speak about the final point of the existence of Vishap, but it was fallen on an Iron Age level. Another one, a fish, excavation of fish, it was located in a kind of marsh. And during our initial period of working, it was very difficult to approach to this object because it was always in a swampy atmosphere, and it was difficult to approach to it. But in 2017, when the landscape became drier than before, we tried to open it. And as you see the process of opening of this fish, it appeared that we have no essential construction around it, and the later intrusions into it can be dated to medieval times through radiocarbon dates. It is possible that this fish either is removed from its original place, which could be a little bit far from this, from its momentary place, or it had no any kind of structure around it. It was installed just in swamp. You see the drawing or excavation of another one. So this was not known as we came to this place. This was a so big, smaller stone, which we consider to be perhaps a dragonstone, and actually it turned to be as such. You see here the parts of the fish and the context. We have either platform or a cromlech, and inside of these stones and by the cromlech was this fish. Unfortunately, we had no time to excavate this cromlech. It would be help also maybe for dating problems, but perhaps we shall do it later. Now coming to the finds, what kind of finds come out around these stones? You see here the distribution of pottery, brown, and obsidian, black, around it. I should say that obsidian is the most frequent find around the Vishaps. It is very difficult to connect it with the context, but as a rule, they are coming out on the same levels as the Vishaps, together with ceramics. And this is the main concentration of artifacts which are appearing around the Vishaps. Or if we take the Vishap number 2 in Operation C, here you see the pottery find spots and lithic find spots. And here, clearly, the lithic prevails over the pottery. The pottery we find around is mainly represented by pottery, by sherds, typical mainly for, on the whole, so for the second millennium typical for second millennium in Armenian archaeological context. Mainly we deal with pottery of Middle Bronze Age, as here you see. Often appear also late Bronze Age pottery sherds, but mainly we are dealing with Middle Bronze Age. Obsidian, which we have a lot around the Vishaps, is of many types. We have a lot of flakes, but also instruments. We have also complete finds. For example, the first excavation of number 10 within and around the Vishaps appeared complete pottery vessels. As you see here, these all vessels are typical for the early Middle Bronze Age, which is dated to the late 3rd millennium BC, and which is also confirmed by C14 data. But we have also ornaments around ornaments of stone, as you see here, but the finds are not as rich as we can consider in connection with such a monumental stelae like the Vishaps. The interdisciplinary research which is done on the site comes to cover many problems which are appearing during the archaeological research, and very important research which is done by our German colleague Harald von der Osten, is a ground penetrating radar prospection, which is done during the last 7 years in the site, and with pretty good results. Although some of the cromlechs are visible on the surface, but many of them are also not visible. And through ground penetrating radar, we have possibility to check once more the precise location of these archaeological objects. You see here, for example, the excavated area, which I demonstrated first. This is the excavated part, and these are the other round structures around, which have not been excavated yet. Other structures, and this is the most important find, which was done by a ground penetrating radar. This structure round structure is about 100 meters in diameter. And this is totally invisible on the surface. And through this radar investigation, we could find such an interesting structure. And this belongs to the so-called jellyfish constructions, which are recently become known in our region and also in Armenia. And we tried to make a test excavations in this part you see here, this part of northern part of the jellyfish construction, trying to locate in wider context of the Vishaps because it is coming inside the Vishap's landscape of Karmir. And here you see we put a trench to 50 meters. The process of excavation, then appeared also some kind of constructions. You see how they are looking like. And very important find, which was done 2 years ago, it appeared that Urartu's pottery appears within this construction. We are working in the mountains for last 10 years. This is for the first time that we are meeting a Urartu's pottery, and you can see here 2 typical Urartu's sherds. This is, we can say, until now the highest point of ever known Urartu's finds in the whole region of spreading of Urartu's culture. And this is, for me, it was a very important find because I was already making theories about the landscape domestication, but by Urartu's people, which could not be more than 2,300 or 2,400 meters. But it appears that the Urartu's pottery can be present on 2,900 meters above the sea level. C14, which we have from this context, dates it to about 27th, 26th century. Of course, it is the end of Urartu's culture in our region, end part, the final part of Urartu's culture, but anyway, it is very important for us. Also, we have other finds in this context, tools, stone tools, obsidian tools, etc. Here, also the obsidian trace analysis are made to cover the problem of its use, and it is very difficult to speak about if it was manufactured just on this 3,000 meters, or it was brought from the downstairs from foothills or from Ararat Valley. These are very difficult problems. But our initial investigation of obsidian sources, you can see here, we have some 4 or 5 important sources like Geghasar, Gutansar, Hatis, Metz Arteni, Poker Arteni, Tsahkunyats. These are well-known obsidian sources in Armenia. But among them is very interesting also Sarigamish. Sarigamish is located in modern Turkey by Kars, not far from Kars, and it is very much interesting how the obsidian from Sarigamish appeared on the mountain Aragats. Here are location of obsidian sources and the Karmir. It means there is a kind of interesting communication system around it. The people who visited this sacred place brought with them the obsidian, or what happened? These are very interesting questions to understand in future. Also, archaeobotanical and investigations are made by Roman Hovsepian, a charcoal investigation defining what kind of woods were used in the site. And I should say that these data are very much important because they help us to understand also the mechanism how the process of using of cereals took place in this place, how that the people brought these cereals from the downstairs from Ararat Valley to here, and we can find out pretty big concentrations of cereals, also wheat, for example, both around the Vishaps and also in the jellyfish structure I remembered just. Geochemical investigations are made by our specialists, by our geologists, Armenian geologists, trying through geochemical definitions of soil, define if we are dealing with phosphorus or infections of soils, which can speak about the presence of burials, for example. And we have interesting results from some places of Karmir, which come to tell us that it's very possible that we have also graves in this interesting landscape. But until now, we have no any excavated grave here. And this is one of the interesting aspects. A petrographic analysis is made of Vishaps, and you see here the geological map of Karmir, and we shall try to locate if the materials used for Vishaps coming from the local places or they are brought from other places. Modern investigations of last years demonstrate that actually the raw material, the sources of these stones are not far from this place. And what is also very much interesting, we try to analyze the stones themselves when they are broken to tell if they belong to each other or not. For example, I bring together here two of the Vishaps, the number 9, which has 4 parts. We gathered it from different places, and it demonstrates that it's andesite of the same type, and our reconstruction is right. This is also another reconstruction, 3 objects, 3 stones, 2 were by each other, third one a 10-meter far from the place. They also belong to each other, but we have also negative results. I have shown only the positive one. Now, when we are coming to the problem of chronology, this is the most important and the most difficult problem, how we date the Vishaps. From our excavation, we have more than 20 radiocarbon dates. But the most difficult problem is to connect the contexts which we have, the datings of which we have, to the Vishaps themselves. This is the most difficult thing. So the most important time seems to me to be the Middle Bronze Age, then Late Bronze Age. But now we are thinking even about possibility of going back of this phenomenon to Chalcolithic. It is very possible because we have an increasing database of radiocarbon dates, but it is not clear for me how can we connect this big period to each other. There are missing links, and we need to work more to be more sure in dating of this phenomenon. But now for me, for myself, works the hypothesis of dating of the Vishaps on the whole to the 2nd millennium, to the Middle Bronze Age, as you see here, 2400, 2100, and Late Bronze Age, 1500, 1200. Middle Bronze Age, the main period of distribution of Vishaps is defined by cultural diversity, various sequential groups of black in the early stage and painted in the developed stage pottery traditions, domination of semi-nomadic lifestyle, essential relation to Asia Minor and the Aegean, use of thin bronze, wide use of gold. It means when we date the Vishaps to this period, we have to do with the society with increasing elite, with very essential structures, with production of different kinds of metallurgical object, as you see here, of very high quality, with essential relations to different directions, as I told. And here I demonstrate some finds of Middle Bronze Age, especially Trialeti culture, Trialeti Vanadzor culture, to which should belong most important part of the Vishaps. You see here other sites like Nerkin Naver, Getashen, Keti, which essential finds belonging to this period, and speaking about Western and Southern relations. If we have essential problems with the first stages of dating of the Vishaps, the later stages of Vishaps are more clear. This became clear especially in 1960s, when during the excavations of a well-known site by the name Garni in Armenia, a Vishap stela was found with an inscription, with an Urartian inscription of Argishti I, belonging to the first part of the 8th century BC. And it was clear that the Vishaps were before Argishti wrote a cuneiform inscription on this Vishap. But we need archaeological, more essential archaeological data, and our excavations contribute also to this problem. We see here, I want to show excavation of another Vishap here. It is located here. It was not known before our coming here, and during our excavation, you see the upper part of it, and it appeared such a context. We have a semicircular structure here. We have a Vishap inside some kind of stones, which can be also later. And during excavation, we were finding very often broken parts of the Vishap, broken parts which were actually in situ. You see the upper part here, and we are sure that it was cut down in a period and it remains in situ after it was fallen down. But when it was fallen down, when we turned the Vishap, you see here, after the turning, we noticed that the whole parts, all parts of the object were distracted by an iron object. They were distracted, and you see the upper part of it. Here you see the upper part of it, where should be the depiction of the bull. But most importantly, we have 2 radiocarbon dates from the surface on which the Vishap was fallen down, and this is early Iron Age, about 1100. So we can say during 1000, concretely this Vishap was fallen down. And it is clear that the end of the Vishaps should be somewhere between 1000 or 900 or 800. It's coming to the problem of earlier dating of Vishaps. I want to see the results of other excavations of Vishap, the number 7. You see here, it was broken and perhaps was used secondarily in the Middle Ages, as you see here. But during excavations, it turned out that this is one of the most important Vishaps, And you see the final context, most important because of two things. It appeared that we have found it's the place where it was standing. This is the place, this is the stone belonging to it. When it was broken, it is not known, but it was broken just from this stone, which is standing until now in the pit. You see its location, and most importantly, for the first time, we found bones around it. And these bones, radiocarbon dated about 4000 BC. Now the problem is, how can we connect the bones with the Vishap? It is very difficult. Actually, stratigraphically, it is impossible to say that they belong to it. But the increasing data of Chalcolithic are bringing us to a conclusion that there is some kind of connection. What kind of connection? It is very early now to speak, because we should come out also the common context of social developments, which for me does not fit with Chalcolithic. The Vishaps seem to be a later phenomenon than Chalcolithic. But let's wait, maybe the further details can help us to clear up this problem in more details. We should say that this place was used also in later times. We have medieval constructions, we have medieval pottery, we have even a medieval coin dating to the Byzantine period. This is a follis dating to 11th century. It means that this territory was always used. We have nothing from Middle Iron Age, the Urartian period. We have nothing from classical period. We have nothing from early medieval period, but from other periods, we have a lot of data. And this place is used also today as sacred place. And when we are going over the Vishap number 4 to this place, this is the so-called Qazal Ziyarat. This is one of the most important sacred places on modern Aragats, which is visited by different communities living on different sides of Aragats. And of course, it is difficult to make such connections that it was always a sacred place. It is impossible. But in any case, such places seem to be always used as sacred landscapes, both in earlier periods and also until now. And because of it, it is very much difficult to date the Vishaps, because always the people visited this place. And even now, the people have a veneration to the stones which we are excavating. Now making some conclusions, I want to show some radiocarbon dates, which are initial, of course, but on the whole, you see that we are fluctuating in Middle Bronze Age. Most of the data are Middle Bronze Age. We have Late Bronze Age. We have Early Iron Age, but we have also Chalcolithic data. We have here Chalcolithic data, and the database is increasing, and we need more data because it is really very much difficult to come to the problem of dating. But if we try to do initial conclusions, Vishaps sacred landscapes are open air sanctuaries. They are located in high mountains and foothills in places reflecting small plateaus, similar to stadiums. This is a similarity for all of the Vishaps. They are all located in places like a football stadium. They date to the Middle and Late Bronze Age, although process of their formation can go back to the Chalcolithic period. Later reminiscences can achieve medieval period. Along with Ants and Himalayas, the Armenian mountains appear to be areas of earliest human presence. And this is maybe one of the most essential things to understand this phenomenon, in a wider, in world archaeological context. Now I would like to speak also some words in short about the protection problems concerning the protection of the Vishaps. You know, as I told you, we have some 100 objects known until now, and some 20 of them are replaced from their original places, being deteriorated. We have taken, so these 5 were put mainly in Soviet times into cement upside down, the heads into the cement. And during this year, and they should be this way, as you see here. This should be their original way, how they should be stood up. And this year, we did an initial works concerning reconstruction and putting them in right way. We made it in context of 5 objects, which are located mainly on Aragats mountain and in Yerevan, because in Yerevan we have concentration of 6 such objects, and one of them was put in not right way. You see some works. Yeah, this is the Karakap trees in the southern heights of Aragats. This is before the work. This is after the work. This is standing now in the right position. It was in this position, and we are trying also to make a to make them to make them also accessible for the wider public. And I want to show here also the Poplavok one. Those who were in Yerevan, they know that the Poplavok garden is one of the important places, and this Vishap, which was with its important part, was put on these stones in beton. We tried to stand it up, and we tried to recreate a kind of original place for it, making a cromlech. But the works are going on. We are about to make for these Vishaps also QR codes. They are almost ready. We need time. Only these last events in Armenia, of course, coming to disturb everything which we envisaged during the last period. But we are keeping to do it without any problems. And I want to say that many things have been done in recent times in context of Vishaps. I want to make some acknowledgement to people who helped us in this process. Sophie, and I should say that we have very good contacts now with Los Angeles, Armenian community, and UCLA. And here are the names I would like to say a big thanks to the people for their investment, for their help. Sophie Khachmanian, by the help of which was published this book recently in 2019, Vishap Between Fairy Tale and Reality. And we continue our collaboration. I want to tell a very big thank to Margaret Mangasarian Goshin from Arat Eskijan Museum in Los Angeles for her investment of this all work are showed. I hope we shall have later also possibility to demonstrate this work in more details. Now, because of the lack of time, I did not go in all details. I want to say big thanks to the organization Archaeolab in Armenia, in Yerevan, which realized actually this work. and Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport for big support, Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography of Armenian Academy of Sciences and its director Pavel Avetisyan for big support, and also especially to Christine Martyosyan-Olshansky from UCLA for big support during this region. And I hope that our collaboration in this branch will go ahead during further years, and we shall have new and essential work realized in this context. Further, I want, unfortunately, the time is not enough to speak about many problems, but I want to present one or two objects which can be object of further protection works, concentrating on one very important find which we did 2 years ago. This is the Geghama Mountains. Arshaluis is the name of this place. When we came to this point, we saw these 3 stones cut it down. When we put them together, it appeared that we are dealing with an unbelievable object. The Vishap stone, you see at the extremities coming from up, down, 5 heads of bulls inside, like in Armenian fairy tales. And actually, this was the idea to call this book Vishaps Between Fairy Tale and Reality, because we know such stories about living of Vishaps in Armenian mountains, even in Armenian memory of fairy tales. And what was very interesting, a 200-meter road goes to this object, 200 meters road. And this is in a place about 2,100 meters above sea level. It is a typical ritualistic place. And can you imagine when we have a 200-meter route going to a sacred place, in a way opened. And this is the landscape. It is situated not far from the well-known Urartu Ledge. It is somewhere here. You can see here from above. Here is the location of this Vishap, and the route goes until here, more than 200 meters. We can see the route here better. And I want, with the last slide, I want to thank you for your attention and mention also the last find of Vishap. You see, this is the landscape of Ajdahayurt here. This is the Vishap number 1, which is the first Vishap which was found in 1909 by Nikolaios Mar. This is the last Vishap, which was found on Mount Aragats in western Armenia, just here. And we know the place, and we hope that in future we shall have a possibility to work on it just in situ. Thank you very much. I hope you will have some questions.